Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about the AI tsunami. And believe me, that's not an exaggeration. We're looking at a wave of cash, of pure innovation, and let's be honest, disruption that's happening at a scale we've literally never seen before. Okay, to really get a feel for just how fast this is all moving, let's just throw out a few numbers. First up, $7 billion. That is the projected annual revenue for Anthropic. Now, keep in mind, this is a company that didn't even exist a few years ago, back in 2021. We're talking about growth that's faster than pretty much any company in history. It's wild. Next number, 1 million. What's that? Well, that is the number of Google's super powerful TPU chips, the specialized brains that actually power AI, that Anthropic just got their hands on. This isn't just an upgrade. We're talking about a colossal expansion of raw computing power. And for our last number, 100 gigawatts. So OpenAI is saying that's how much new energy capacity the United States needs to build every single year just to keep up with AI. Think about that. This isn't about code on a screen anymore. This is about rewiring the actual physical world. And it's all feeding into a brand new kind of arms race. So yeah, we're talking about a new AI arms race, one that's all about fueling the future with compute and cash. What we're seeing is this absolutely high-stakes scramble for the one thing that AI can't live without, raw computing power. It's a fight for chips, for data centers, for the electricity to run it all. And it's basically defining the next chapter of tech, putting a staggering amount of power into the hands of just a few companies. Let's look at the players. First, you've got Anthropic. Their whole strategy is about not putting all their eggs in one basket. So they've got this massive multi-billion-dollar deal with Google to get their hands on those TPUs for training their new models. But they're also hedging their bets, using chips from Amazon's AWS and, of course, Nvidia. It's a classic multi-cloud play. You don't want to be dependent on just one supplier, right? It's all about protecting yourself if one part of that supply chain just breaks. Now, OpenAI, they're doing the exact opposite. Their game is all about vertical integration. They're not just buying chips. They are spending billions, with a B, to control their own destiny. They've forged this incredibly deep alliance with Samsung that covers, well, everything. We're talking a guaranteed supply of memory chips, all the way to designing these wild, futuristic floating data centers. The goal here is simple. Own the whole stack, top to bottom, and make sure no future bottlenecks can slow you down. Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting, because this chart lays out 3 totally different ways to win this race. You've got Anthropic playing it smart by diversifying their bets. Then you've got OpenAI just going all in, trying to own the entire stack. And then you've got this new challenger, Qualcomm, coming in from a completely different direction. They're not focused on the massive training part. They're all about efficiency and a lower cost of ownership. Their focus is on inference. That's the part where you're actually using the AI model, not building it. And they're making specialized hardware just for that. So you have to ask, what is all this insane amount of computing power actually for? Well, one of the biggest, most immediate places you're going to see it is shopping, something we all do. And AI isn't just changing how we find stuff. It's literally rewriting the definition of what a customer even is. I mean, just look at these numbers from Boston Consulting Group. In a single year, the shopping traffic coming from AI agents, from things like ChatGPT or Gemini, it exploded. We're talking a 4,700% increase. Let that sink in. This isn't some slow, gradual shift. It's a tidal wave, and it's completely changing how we all buy things. And all of this is pushing us towards something called zero-click commerce. And this really shows you how it works. Forget browsing websites. Instead, you just tell your personal AI agent, hey, I need a new pair of running shoes, size 10. Then your agent goes out, finds the best deal, literally negotiates with the store's AI agent, and then just buys it for you securely. The big takeaway, the customer isn't you anymore. It's your software. So what does this mean for every business out there? Well, it means the entire game has changed. For years, it was all about SEO, right? Search engine optimization. Getting human eyeballs on your page. That's over. Now, it's about GXO, or Generative Experience Optimization. It's about making all your product info, specs, availability, reviews so perfectly structured that any AI agent can read it and understand it instantly. Think of it like creating a universal digital price tag that machines can trust and act on. Okay, so this massive shift is forcing the world's biggest platforms to completely pivot. They're rewiring social media, they're rewiring search, and they're doing it at lightning speed. It's a frantic race to bake AI into everything they do, because if they don't, they risk becoming totally irrelevant. Just look at Meta. Remember the metaverse? Well, that project isn't dead, but right now, AI is the all-consuming fire at that company. They've completely reshuffled their leadership to put AI front and center. The products are changing fast, like new AI tools on Instagram that let you edit your stories just by talking to it. And you better believe investors are watching like hawks. They're pouring billions into AI, and Wall Street wants to see a return, which means one thing: smarter, more effective ads that know exactly what you want to buy. Meanwhile, over at X, they're launching a two-pronged attack. On one side, you have AI as a companion. They're actually selling chatbots with, let's say, fewer restrictions for their premium users, basically betting on our fundamental need for connection. But on the other side, they're going after information itself. They're trying to build a rival to Wikipedia, called Grokopedia, using their Grok AI to create a whole new knowledge base. It's a really bold move, trying to capture both our free time and our source of truth. All right, but with all this power getting integrated into every corner of our lives, a huge fight is breaking out. And you could really call it a fight for AI's soul. It's about safety, it's about regulation, it's about disinformation, and fundamentally, it's a battle over who gets to write the rules for our future. And speaking of rules, California just fired the starting gun. They passed this landmark law, a first in the nation, all about how police can use generative AI. Now, any police report written with AI has to have a disclosure on every single page. And here's the kicker: it requires an audit trail. The police have to save the original AI drafts. That means we can actually see what the machine suggested versus what the human officer ended up writing. This could be the blueprint for holding AI accountable across all of government. But this whole debate, how fast should we go? What kind of guardrails do we need? It's getting super political. On one side of the ring, you have folks like former administration advisors and VCs. And their argument is that all this talk about safety is basically just fear-mongering. They say it's going to stifle innovation and crush the little guy, the startups, who are just trying to get off the ground. But then you have the other side, with companies like Anthropic. Their CEO, Dario Amodei, makes a really interesting counter-argument. He says their safety-first approach isn't about hitting the brakes. It's about having a steering wheel. He's arguing that safety is actually a selling point. By proving your AI is safe and reliable, you can win over the big, risk-averse customers. Think finance, government, healthcare, places where trust is absolutely everything. So, while all these giants are fighting over computing power and policy, the technology itself, well, it's not waiting for anyone. It's already out in the real world, and some of the breakthroughs we're seeing are just staggering. Let's take a look. I mean, the pace here is just breathtaking. AI is jumping from the digital world into the physical one. We're now seeing models that can spin up a coherent 5-minute-long video from just a single text prompt. In manufacturing, you've got desktop 3D printers that can now create these incredibly complex, strong parts that were impossible before. And then it gets even crazier. In neuroscience, there's a decoder that can read raw brainwaves with almost perfect accuracy. And in healthcare, AI models are spotting cancer markers on MRI scans with an accuracy that can sometimes beat a human doctor. This is where all that theory becomes very, very real. So what's the big picture here? This is so much more than just the next tech trend. What we're actually doing is building the foundation for a whole new system. A system with its own physical infrastructure, its own automated economy, and its own way of understanding the world. And as it keeps growing, it forces every single one of us to ask a really fundamental question. Are we building a partner, or are we building a replacement?